Okay.
Cheap excuses. I was down with a real flu last week, so I was not in the office and I just didn't prepare a presentation. The real reason is I didn't want to give a presentation because I think you've all seen these pie graphs and how much the Commission is spending on research and innovation, on circular economy and this and that, and I think that's pretty boring, it's self-aggrandizing, and it doesn't say anything about the challenges, because the challenges is what we're talking about today, right? And that is what I'm struggling with. So I thought I would rather give you an insight into what I'm doing right now in my job at the Commission. I only started a year ago in digital research, I mean, because before that, long time, I was in the European Parliament, but before that I was 6 years in DG Environment, and I was in the unit that was circular economy, but then it was still called, I think, waste recycling and something. So you see the approach, the thing that we want to get away from. And what I want to do, because you already gave 45 slides, I think it's enough for the two of us. I will talk about a few projects that we are running right now and a few things that are upcoming. As I still have my links to DG Environment, I can also tell you what's going on under the Circular Economy Action Plan, implementation, next steps. And yeah, I think we will have to hit the questions that we want to answer and that we want to discuss and that we want to follow up on over the coming years. Both still under Horizon 2020, but more importantly under Horizon Europe. Short statement on DG Environment Circular Economy Action Plan. Right now, I don't know whether you're aware of that. There is a communication, a staff working document coming that's not being publicly circulated yet. It will probably be open for consultation. The original idea was still this week, but I doubt it. Within the next few weeks you will probably see the document, but what you will also see there is that it is a relatively conservative approach. So you see again the references to the original 2015 action plan, to the 2018 package, which was a little package, which was more about consolidation, about getting the things together, different perspectives on products, on chemicals, on waste again, because from a legal perspective it's very difficult, because you can only use the instruments that you have. And the classic regulatory approach that you regulate something that you know that is tangible, that you can touch, and that is the starting point for all this is waste legislation. Because other approaches like sustainable consumption and production ended in sort of a dead end at some point. That was built in 2008 and then we never heard of it again. So what we will see in this communication is more a documentation of the state of play, but not really recommendations for new instruments or for new actions to be taken. I think what they clearly do, but then again, about this I want to talk later from a research perspective. What they do is that they focus on key areas for circularity from a material point of view, which is important and which is logical, because there you can apply methods like environmental footprint, and you can just calculate the environmental impact. And this is getting more and more accepted, so why not use it? The downside is that you don't really see what you can change. I very much like that you were talking about services. There is B at the Commission are still talking about products. when we talk legislation. And the key areas in this communication, in this staff working document will be again construction and housing, sort of a mix of products, materials and services already. Textiles, which is something that is gaining momentum. There you also have legislation in France, for example. Chemicals is a big sector, but it doesn't really fit in from concept-wise. It's a different story. It's also why we have this interface, chemicals, products, waste. And electronics, of course, because that, I mean, you showed examples, it does have a massive environmental footprint. It offers potential for interventions, also for moving to new business models. It can be calculated easily. There are supply chain data available, which is an important starting point. And there's legislation in place. And that's from a Commission pragmatic point of view already a winner. Because it means you can turn some screws, because you have general waste legislation, you have the restriction of hazardous substances, you have the waste triple E, the wheel directive, so you can play with extended producer responsibility, you can introduce some targets so that everyone can cheat. No one meets the targets, and then the Commission has to follow up and doesn't know how. But it's a different story. But at least these are areas where you have something. You have something under the loop that you can investigate. But I think in all honesty, there will be a new parliament this year. There will be a new commission this year. So legislation-wise, I would not expect too much within the next, I don't know, 1.5, 2 years. That's why I think research and innovation is much more interesting. The problem is that circular economy and circularity in research and innovation, at least officially, is only a very recent topic. Because in framework program 6 and 7, it was not addressed, maybe somehow subliminal via other product or innovation aspects, but not as circularity. And then for me the key question is anyway, I mean, do we just believe in circularity as an overarching principle, and what do we understand as circularity? Because, and now I'm slowly coming to the project, to one of the projects that I'm doing right now. When I looked into all sorts of literature and into our research projects, mainly FP6 and FP7, I found the material rather incoherent, and I don't see really a definition or a common idea what we want to achieve. And that is also because we don't really have a definition of circular economy. Not even in the circular economy action plan, you have something like and we like circular economy, and this and that is happening in the circular economy, but whether this is the definition, I mean, one could shape it into a definition, but it's not a very good one. You then have the Ellen MacArthur Foundation definition, and you have around 140 others. And then you have some people trying to use a synopsis and a broader terminology, because if you don't have it all, there's the BSI standard from 2017? Yeah, I think from last year. And that is a very good starting point. But of course you cannot download it, you have to buy it, or you have to ask someone who has it, because it's a standard. But what is missing is the terminology, and based on the terminology, the vision, what we really want to achieve, and how we measure it, and how we compare. We don't really compare. You gave the example with the calculated greenhouse gas emissions. That would already be a very important point, but that is relatively new. But we don't really compare on the macro level, we don't compare on the micro level, so we don't really compare products, we avoid this, we shy away from this debate, also because industry doesn't want it, although some industry players would love to have it, because there are some front runners that would also have all the data, and but they won't speak up against their associations. That's the other thing. That's what I experienced when I was working on the ROS directive in the environment. So we don't compare products. We are not even sure how we want to compare, because you addressed it a few times. How do you deal with trade-offs and conflicts, possible conflicts? Ideally there are synergies, but it's not the case always, between energy efficiency and resource efficiency, just to break it down into these two simple categories. Legislation on eco-labeling, which should cover the environmental impact of products. Still a conservative approach, still we are not going into services, but yet there is legislation in place, only addresses the energy efficiency aspect. I know that it was difficult enough to get there, but at the beginning, 10 years ago, we said we wanted to address material efficiency, resource efficiency as well. And the RAND studies, and there's a huge stack of paperwork done by JRC, excellent material on electronics mainly, on the resource efficiency of products and how it can be standardized, and how we can translate this into benchmarks for, say, repairability of products, modularity of products, recycled content in products, recyclability of products, all these key parameters, and how we can link it, or how we can translate it and rather check the related environmental impact as a product environmental footprint, which is really gaining traction in the industry, this method, product environmental footprint. But we are silent, we are not moving forward because it's a tricky issue, and because we are completely obsessed with the energy efficiency aspect. So there's a methodological problem, there's a political policy problem, and there's I mean the data problem is the smallest problem of the three. But I think I just I was wondering. Okay, so from a research perspective, getting back to what I'm doing, I looked into a huge bunch of R&I projects that we financed, BGRTD, FP6 to Horizon 2020, starting with keyword search and reducing the number of projects down to 80 with external experts with a broad scientific background, and we were aware that these projects were not focusing on circularity as such, but we wanted to extract messages, lessons and recommendations for future product policy. And what we saw there was to some extent frustrating, but it was also inspiring. Because of course, as the concept in policy is relatively new, the focus on areas, materials, and product types looked relatively random, and the way calls are organized, and that is something that's for me one of the biggest challenges, but because that has to change in Horizon Group, is that people are reinventing the wheel. So you have the feeling that they are doing the same thing in FP6, in FP7, in Horizon 2020 again and again, and they're doing the same thing in FP7 in parallel. So there are a whole series of conservative projects, traditional recycling projects, that are focusing on the recovery of some very specific rare earth metals, on some critical raw materials, and they're all doing the same. Like 3 different project consortia are trying to extract something from, I don't know, big magnets or something. And I don't know what's the use of it. And I don't know why we paid for this. Because that is not the problem, because the technology will come. And none of these projects will make it to a readiness level 9 or even close. It will not hit the market. Because all these brilliant scientists, I mean, they are not even in the position to answer this. How should they be able to make this work on the market? It's not about feasibility. They are doing technology. They are losing lots of energy because they're doing the same things and are not coordinated. I don't see how it fits into the bigger picture, because it's just recycling of something under the title that we need these critical raw materials for the big energy transition that will come, which is true to some extent. But even if this big energy transition will come, the things that we can recover from waste, I will stick to waste for the moment, from end-of-use products, will only probably feed a 10% supply of what we need in critical raw materials. So it's not that recycling will ever be able to solve our problems, which again leads to a limited understanding, and where we would also need research on what we really want to achieve as societal models. Because whenever I go to a meeting and I say circular, means not only that you close the circle, it also means that you slow down the circle, that you slim it and trim it, that it runs smoothly. Then people look at me and what? But we cannot write it, and these are, yeah. That's my daily life, but that is okay. It will take some time. But there you see that these, for lack of a better word, end of pipe technologies will not solve our problems and do not significantly even contribute to circularity. And all this conceptual work also, there we see synergies between bioeconomy and circularity. these have not been dealt with. Just one example. Uh, it works a bit like a fish market. So whenever a topic pops up, everyone is yelling and says we have an idea. And the big thing this year was plastics in the oceans.